Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to highlight one other area of concern when working with synchronized methods, and I thought this Oracle tutorial did a very good job. So what happens is we have this class called Deadlock, and inside of it we just have a very simple static class called friend that just has a name, and it has these two synchronized methods, bow and bow back. And then we also have this main method. It instantiates a friend named Alfonso and a friend named Gaston. Then what we do is we create two different threads, and in the first thread we do alphonse.bow Gaston, right? So what this does is let's see here, we have Alphonse, this friend, and we're going to go inside of this bow method, and we're just going to print out, I think we're going to print out Gaston's name. We're going to say Alphonse dot Alphonse, and then colon, and then Gaston has bowed to me, right? And then we're going to have another thread where we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to reverse the order of the call. Now, this situation leads to a scenario called deadlock. So what's going to happen is that in some cases, we might be entering this bow method at the same time from both of these threads. So imagine what happens. As soon as we call this bow method on Gaston, because it's a synchronized method, where it's going to make it so that other threads, for example, this thread below, can't access any other synchronized method until this first thread has finished executing. Okay, so let me say that again. We have this object called Alphonse, and as soon as we call this bow method, because it's a synchronized method, no other method can be called until we've reached the end of this bow method. Okay? So now, suppose that we do Alphonse.bow, but at the same time we do Gaston.bow. So now we have a lock on Alphonse, and now we have a lock on Gaston. Okay, fine. That should be okay, right? The problem is we need to call this bow back function. Okay, but in order to call this bow back method, right? This is another synchronized method. So in order to call this method, this bow back method, we need to obtain a lock, right? But the lock is already belongs to the other guy. So okay, let me try to explain that again. We have this Gaston object, right? So we're going to be doing Gaston.bowback. The problem is we already have a lock on this thread right here. Already has a lock on Gaston. Why does it have a lock on Gaston? Well, it's because we called this bow method at the same time we called this bow method for the other thread, and because we have a lock for Gaston, we aren't able to go inside of this method, and we aren't able to call it. Our thread is going to block. So this thread is going to block, and then the same thing is going to happen for this guy right here. We're going to try to call we're going to be passing in Alphonse, right? And we're going to be doing Alphonse.bow back. But the problem is, because we're working with the synchronized method, this thread has a lock on Alphonse, and so because this thread has a lock on Alphonse, this thread right here, then this second thread has to wait, and so both threads just end up waiting for each other in an infinite kind of loop, you could say. So we can test this out ourselves. Let's just copy this code. And I'm just going to paste it in right here, compiled fine, and we can run. And so notice what happens when we run. Our program hasn't terminated. It's kind of like an infinite loop. Normally, when it terminates, it looks like this. The red square. It's highlighted gray. And we can run this again, and it'll happen. And we can run this again, and it'll keep happening. So this is a pretty bad issue. So this is deadlock, and it's good to be aware of it when you're writing multi-threaded code. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.